world was conspiring against her. She wasn't a fatalistic person normally, firmly believing that each person made his or her own providence. But this was really too much after the week she'd had. First, her lovesick assistant had quit, without any notice, to get married, leaving Tatyana in the lurch when she needed to prepare a presentation to her newest clients. That was Monday. Tuesday, her brother Sergei, the private investigator, had shown up at her office. He had been a veritable font of evil information on her already and definitively ex-boyfriend, just so he could reiterate more strongly how badly in need of a beating the rotten bastard was. Her overprotective sibling had taken up half her morning with his gossip until she'd been forced to throw him out. Wednesday had been the beginning of a 3-day office campaign to drive her completely bats about this lousy New Year's party she didn't have a date for. Thank you very much. Then today, her ex-boyfriend had been lurking by her car when she had left the office, with a fresh new rose and an old greasy charm. He tried to cajole her into inviting him to be her date. She had said yes, so long as he promised to bring his wife, whom he had neglected to mention to her during their dating. The jerk had not taken her suggestion well at all, hurling the rose and various insults at her. Her only consolation, she had reminded herself, was that she'd never slept with the loser. The thought actually warmed her as she picked up her pace. In fact, she was so focused on her brisk stride that it took her several minutes to note the lights suddenly appearing over the rise in the road she was climbing. When she finally did, she stopped dead in her tracks and exhaled a happy cloud of relieved breath. It was a house. A very freaking big house by the look of it. "Holy shit," she gasped. "I found it!" Dmitri had said the place was huge. A compound, he'd said. It looked more like a resort. "Ooh, chimneys! Fire! Me like fire!" The only problem? There were about 20 acres of land between said house and one popsicle redhead, standing stupidly on the side of the road. On the plus side, it seemed to be a mostly cleared field. On the boo-hiss side, it was all uphill from there. She abandoned the road and began to trek across the field. Hunter waylaid Rice just as he was about to enter the parlor. He sensed Annalie was still upstairs, so he dragged Rice into the privacy of the room and slammed the door shut. He instantly turned on his old friend. "I just saw Gracie," he snapped. He really didn't need to say more, and Rice knew it. "Hunter, I asked you to—" "I refuse to wait for an explanation as to why you lied to me," he interrupted harshly. "It's absolutely unacceptable, Rice. Our precious Annalie isn't here for you to hide behind, and knowing her she'll be late, which gives you plenty of time to explain to me what the hell is going on here. I have all my senses, and I have my intelligence, Rice. I can damn well tell the difference between a woman who fell from a horse and a woman who has been abused at someone's hands." Hunter paused to draw a furious breath, trying to force his emotions under control. "Now, you will explain yourself, whether or not you think I have the right to demand it." "I didn't withhold full explanation to punish you for abandoning the coven, Hunter," Rice retorted sharply. "I'm not so petty, and you bloody well should know it. I've been patient and accepting of your choices for 10 years, and that hasn't changed just because I was compelled to call you back." Hunter watched as the high priest of his coven bent his dark head and collected his thoughts for a moment. They were both taking slow, measured breaths in order to control their roiling tempers. It would do neither of them any good to begin fighting, and it certainly wouldn't benefit the coven. "Graceland was attacked a few days ago," Rice continued abruptly. "She says she doesn't remember the fight or the attacker, and if you had seen her directly after, you'd understand why she can't, or won't. She was out riding alone. A few hours later, her horse returned to the stable, saddle empty. Lennox and I went and found her." Rice shook his head slowly as he reviewed the horrible memory. The entire area for an acre around where we found her looked like a war zone. "She put up a hell of a fight. You knew her best when she was more of a scrapper, when her enthusiasm in a firefight got her through more than anything. But she's changed, Hunter. Graceland's become a true warrior. She's extraordinarily skilled and manages her elemental magic with style and control. Wait